today we're going to talk about another sustainable development goal. Today's sustainable development goal number 11, sustainable cities and communities. This is another one of the development goals that I truly believe it's really important to understand, because I believe it could take us to failure or success of the agenda of 2030. We're going to start with a short video so you can have like a whole picture, a big picture of what this sustainable goal means. Okay, so here's the video.
The world is becoming increasingly urban. We'll need to build a new city for 1 million people every week to keep up, or manage the growth of the cities we already have. The battle for sustainable development will be won or lost in our cities, working with the rural areas on which they depend for food and natural resources. Mayors and local governments are already taking action to win this battle. We provide basic services and work with slum dwellers and neighbourhoods to upgrade their living conditions. We improve air quality by investing in public transport and green mobility. We protect the environment through sustainable waste management. We tackle urban segregation by ensuring quality green and public spaces for all. We protect urban cultural heritage for future generations. We monitor and regulate land use to make cities more resilient to climate change and disasters. We involve our communities in planning for inclusive and sustainable urbanization. Local and regional governments seek strong partnerships with national governments to ensure enabling legal frameworks and adequate resources, and play our full role in achieving Sustainable Development Goal 11, which is sustainable cities and communities. The Sustainable Development Agenda depends on local governments.
So as you can see, there is a lot of things involved on this development goal, and it requires very hard work from a lot of different people. Okay, so more than half of us live in cities right now. I mean, pretty much the whole planet lives in cities right now. So by 2050, 2/3 of all humanity, that's 6.5 billion people, will be urban. Sustainable development cannot be achieved without significantly transforming the way we build and manage our urban spaces. Specifically here in Venezuela, we don't have planned cities. Pretty much all of our cities has just growth from the necessity of the city. None of them has been actually planned in order to be efficient, okay? So the rapid growth of cities, a result of rising populations and increasing of migration, has led to a bump in mega cities, especially in the developing world, and are becoming a more significant feature of urban life. Making the cities sustainable, it's an opportunity to create affordable housing, building resilient societies and economics. It involves the investment in public transportation, creating green spaces, improving urban planning, and managing participatory and inclusive ways. The sustainable cities, having sustainable cities, the base, it's planning the city. Before starting building, just know what you're going to do. And like I said, most of the cities here in our country didn't start that way. And planning that city, it's taking in account that you need some green space, that you need to have green transportation, that you need to have spaces where people can walk or take a bike ride. For example, here in our city, the distances are somewhere short, so most of them we can do it on skates or on a bike. But the truth is that we don't have space to actually take neither of those alternative means of transportation, because we will have to do it in the middle of the public way, and we'll be obstructing the people that uses cars. So it's important to understand that a sustainable city needs to be planned ahead, taking in account all the different aspects in order to make it sustainable. And believe it or not, the success of the 2030 agenda starts in the sustainable cities, in eradication poverty, and having equality, in reducing the climate change, in ensuring healthy lives, and making sure that everyone has an equal job and equal payments. Believe it or not, sustainable cities has a lot to do with that. Like I said, it will be cities that determined the success of this 2030 agenda, because we can achieve inclusive economic growth or greater inequality, or reduce inequality, and cities is where people seek for opportunities, for higher education, for better employment. So this will show if we continually just take in all the resources of the planet, or if we actually realize how we can have a more sustainable life, okay? This is why I believe that Sustainable Development Goal number 11 is so important, okay? For example, let's take a look at target point 11.2 that talks about affordable and sustainable transport systems. Like I was saying, we can have alternative transportation in our cities, for example, like walking or taking a bike. But if we are going to do that, then our city needs to think about spaces where people can actually do that, like an alternative road. Like there's the main road for cars and buses and all this type of things, an alternative road for people that would like just to walk or take a bike or maybe use some skates, you know? This is a very interesting fact. In 2012, the world's largest development banks made a funding commitment 170 billion over 10 years for sustainable transportation. This is a fund that exists in order to do research and investigation for alternative sustainable transportations. And it will be really nice that we can actually use that fund to create projects that can help this sustainable means of transportation. Here I will put you a table of how the world looks like in numbers. Like 55% of the world's population live in cities. This is 4.2 billion people. 3% of cities occupy just the 3% of the city, just occupies the land in the earth. So we're just like all crumbled up in just a tiny space of earth. Like you can see here in numbers how bad it is not having a planned city, okay? And this will be increasing by the year 2050 if we don't do anything right now. As usual, I'm going to leave you a couple of links so you can research and read a little bit more about this sustainable goal. In the first one, you can see the projection of the behavior of these numbers by the year 2050, and you can find all the target points, the indicators, and the progress since 2018, okay, that in the first link. And in the 2 second links that I'm leaving you, you can find different projects and inspiration where you can get involved in order to help achieve this goal. Remember that, like the video said, we need to start local, and from local grow to national and hopefully the world, okay? You never know if there's some cool idea that you can apply in your city. And finally, I will leave you a video that explains how we can create sustainable cities in a very smart and efficient way that doesn't necessarily implicate a big amount of money. So I will really, really love you if you can check these websites, because like I said, you can find inspiration of things that you can do. And like I've said in previous videos, the only way to achieving these goals are actually by knowing them, understanding them, and finding a way to apply it in our daily lives. And for example, the sustainable cities can totally change the effect that we have in climate. Okay, we're more efficient in the uses of our spaces. We can totally reduce the climate change problems that we're having right now. So remember that if you have any questions, you can contact me through the Hangouts application. You can leave me a comment on the Google Classroom, or you just can send me an email. I hope you're fine, kids. See you later. Bye.